What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to the channel into week number 5 here in the NFL. We got a great show put together here today for you guys, chock full of some free picks, some breakdowns, and some analysis. But before we dive into that, we do need to jump over to the Guy Boston Sports website. Now, each week, that's where I put each of my final plays on the slate. So make sure you check that out at the end of the day. It's going to be down there in the pinned comment. But let's go ahead and jump over there and recap our plays from week number 4. Let's see what we put in then and how that ended up going down. We did put a lot of plays in, 12 plays overall. Man, we had ourselves a great day. We go 8-2 with 2 pushes on the day. Jalen Warren does not end up playing. And then this parlay down here, technically a push, right? But we do end up profiting just a little bit on that because the Patriots do hit on the money line and then the Packers finish in a tie, right? So that ends up as a void. So yeah, technically that parlay is a void. It's a push, but we ended up like 0.2 units on that one, I believe. And then, pretty smooth sailing for the rest of the day, man. Derrick Henry, first quarter, over 14.5 rushing yards was a hit. J.K. Dobbins, over 64.5 rushing yards. That was our plus money cash out, and that does hit. So we will get into that here in a minute, man. We got to send an Amazon card out to one of you lucky commenters down below. And the Vikings, the Steelers, a total under 42.5. That one does not cash. We took the Lions laying 8.5. That was a hit. Chargers, Giants total under 43.5. That cash. Eagles first half money line was also a cash. We got that at plus money with that FanDuel profit boost. So love to see that. Put a full unit on that one as well. Bills team total over 30.5. Got a little sweaty, but we do get that one. They land at 31 on the game. Falcons money line was a cash at plus money. That was our dog of the week. Rams laying 3 was also a cash. We did take the Ravens on the money line, though, and they get smoked by the Chiefs. So, like I said, man, 8 wins, 2 losses, 2 pushes. We will definitely take it. It was a good week 4. And as far as that plus money cash out is concerned, that random commenter down below, Nakeem Steely, hit me up on IG or my email down below, man. Make sure you shoot over your email. That way I can send you that Amazon $10 gift card. And guys, if you're new to the show, man, each week we do the plus money cash out. That's where we pick our favorite plus money play on the week. And if it does hit, we send out an Amazon gift card to one lucky commenter down below that comments double up, because that's what we're trying to do with these plus money plays, man. We are trying to double up. So let's go ahead and jump into the plays for today. First thing that we're going to be looking at the prop playbook. Let's see what kind of player props that we have on the board that we're liking for this week. And the first play I'm going to be looking at, Quinshawn Judkins of the Browns, rushing yards over 69.5. We can get that at FanDuel. It's minus 154. Definitely juice. Now that line is sitting at, I think, 74.5. Yeah, you can get a 74.5. You can get a 75.5. Look, man, I'm just going to pay that little bit of extra bit of juice, right, and just hope for him to hit 70 yards, which I think he has a really good chance of doing. The Vikings are sitting at 28th DVOA defending the run. They're 24th for rushing yards per game. So definitely a struggle on the defensive end for Minnesota defending the run. You look at Judkins, he's hit 2 out of 3 times on the season so far, 82 yards in that last game against the Lions, 94 yards against the Packers. And you can look at his rushing attempts down here, and they've gone up with each game so far this season. 21 rushing attempts against the Lions, and he has a very high share of the rushing attempts, right? Sitting at 53% for the Browns. That next closest running back for Cleveland sitting at, just under 20% in Dylan Sampson. And here's the thing, man. Cleveland making that switch at quarterback. Dylan Gabriel going to be making his first start, a rookie. They're going to be leaning in on that running game, and Judkins has shown that he, is up for the task. So definitely like this one here. Like I said, I like paying a little bit more juice just for that safety net, man. Minus 154. Next up, going to be looking in that Lions and Bengals game, kicking off 4:25 p.m. I'm looking at David Montgomery of the Lions, his rushing yards over 49.5. You can get that at a good price, minus 124. You can see on the season he's hit this at a 50% rate. Had that explosive game, 154 yards against the Ravens. Then follows that up with 12 yards against the Browns, right? But a really good defense there in Cleveland. Let's not get it twisted, and especially against the run. You can see down here now, rushing attempts aren't blowing us away, right? Averaging 10.8 attempts per game. And we can scroll on down and see that Gibbs is getting the bigger share of the rush percentage, right? 48 as opposed to 36 there for David Montgomery. But here's the thing, man. David Montgomery, this is kind of a homecoming for him, right? Went to Mount Healthy here in Cincinnati. He was a standout dual threat quarterback here, man. He's excited to come back home and play his first game in Cincinnati in his pro career. I'm pretty sure this is the first time he's going to be playing in front of his sister again as a pro. So pretty cool for David Montgomery, man. And, the Bengals defense is just an absolute wreck. Let's go ahead and look at this over here. Sitting at 26 for rushing yards allowed. Second from last when it comes to rushing yards allowed to that running back position. They're 26th against the run DVOA. Detroit sitting at 5th for the run DVOA. So definitely like this one here for David Montgomery. Over 49.5 rushing yards, sitting at minus 124. And with that said, it is time to dive into our next segment, that plus money cash out. Now, guys, how this works, I'm going to pick my favorite plus money play off of the slate. And if this thing cashes out, I'm going to pick one commenter down below. We're going to send an Amazon gift card out to you guys for $10. Free money in your pocket to place on your next bet, man. All you got to do is comment double up down there in the comments to enter into that contest, man. That's what we're going to try to do here. We're going to try to double up with this plus money play. So let's go ahead and jump over to Outlier and check that one out as well. I'm going to be looking at Xavier Hutchinson of the Texans. 1 p.m. kickoff time in this one. His receiving yards over 12.5. That's sitting at plus 100 right now. We can scroll on down. He's 100% on the season so far, right? Hitting that 4 out of 4 times, averaging 23 yards per game in the process. And we can see head to head as well. Going back into last year, he did get up and over that mark against the Ravens, and that was a game that the Ravens just absolutely blew the Texans out, right? 31-2. Not sure that we see it quite go down the same way this time around with all those injuries on the side of Baltimore, especially on that defensive side, right? If we look at this insight here from Outlier, we can see that he has exceeded this mark in 6 straight games, averaging 29 receiving yards per game. This is going back into last season as well. Obviously, those 4 in a row this year, and then 2 in a row going back into last season as well. And we scroll down, we can see that he is the 3rd highest targeted receiver behind Christian Kirk and Nico Collins, just right behind Christian Kirk, right? Just literally 1 target less. So I like his chances here, man, at getting up and over that mark. Considering all the injuries on that defensive side for Baltimore, you consider them already sitting at 29th for receiving yards allowed. And it doesn't get much better when we look at them specifically against that wide receiver position sitting at 22nd still, right? So I definitely like this, man. Like I said, over 12.5 yards. We just need him to get 13.5, and we can see that, dating back into last season and all of this season so far, we have been able to cash out on that one. So hopefully we can make it 2 in a row, man, on the plus money cash outs, and we can send out another Amazon gift card to one of you commenters down below. With that said, it is time to dive into our last segment. It is time for quick hits. That's where we're going to go down the entire slate and we'll go over what I'm looking at for each of those games as far as my favorite play off of those games. I'm going to be honest with you guys, just not the greatest slate this week, man. I'm not really a big fan of a lot of these games, but we still can find some value on the board, right? As we always do, and we'll still go over each of my favorite plays for each of these games. So with that said, let's go ahead and dive into the first game on the Week 5 slate. 9:30 a.m. kickoff time. Vikings and Browns. Looking at the Browns plus 3 points in this one, man. I think back-to-back games overseas for Minnesota, that's a tough task in itself. I've seen some people calling this an advantage, and I'm not sure that I agree. I think the Browns are going to get going in the run game, man, like we discussed earlier with that Judkins player prop. Their defense sits at 2nd right now for total DVOA as well. And then if we just jump over here to Outlier real quick, let's look at that Minnesota offense up against that Cleveland defense. Now, scoring, they are sitting at 10th, right? And Cleveland is giving up some points. But everywhere else, man, you're looking at passing yards, right? 24th, Cleveland sitting at 4th. Rushing yards sitting at 20th, Cleveland sitting at 1st. Yards per play, 21st, Cleveland 1st, right? 32nd in terms of sacks, Cleveland sitting at 7th. 8th for hits, Minnesota only 31st. So I think that Cleveland's going to be able to get some pressure on Wentz. And you can see up here as well, man, they're just not moving the ball really efficiently. Only 26th in terms of first downs. Cleveland also sitting at 1st in that regard, man. So, yeah, I like the Browns with the 3 points in that one. Then looking at the next one, going into our 1 o'clock games, I'm looking at the Giants and the Saints. I'm looking at the total in this one, over 41.5. Now, look, man, this is one of the ones. I don't really like this game much at all, right? But I think the over would probably be the only way that I would consider looking in this one if I'm going to look at anything. Like I said, both these offenses have been pretty weak to open the year. But both these defenses have definitely been weaker. We could see the Saints have gone up and over the number 3 out of the 4 times this season, 3 in a row. And then looking at the Giants, we could see the over is hit in 4 of the Giants' last 5 games when they're playing against bottom 10 scoring defenses. That's an 80% hit rate. So we definitely like to see that as well, man. Over 41.5. You can get that for a good price too over there at Novig, minus 109. Now, next up, the Jets and the Cowboys. This is another one, man, that I don't really like this game either, and it's kind of the same as the one just before us, right? Kind of just be looking at the total in this one and maybe looking at an over. Now, the over, the number is starting to go up, right? I was looking at like an alternate over, 44.5 possibly. It was sitting at minus 145 earlier. We're now seeing that at minus 155 over there at Hard Rock. The Jets are coming into this one at 24th DVOA defensively. The Cowboys dead last at 32nd. And we can see that they've gone up and over this 44.5 mark 3 out of the 4 times this season, both of these teams, right? And then this inside from outlier, we can see that the over has hit in 8 of the Cowboys' last 12 games. So, said, man, I think if I'm looking anywhere in this one, like I said, that total is sitting at 47.5. I'd probably look at an alternate, man. Look at that 44.5. It is juiced. But yeah, I just don't really like a lot in this game. I think this would be the only way that I would look at it personally. Next up, Denver Broncos, Philadelphia Eagles. I'll be looking at the Eagles laying the 3.5 in this one, man. I'm just not high on Denver yet, right? And it's not because they just smashed my Bengals, man. It's honestly that kind of plays into it, man. Their only wins on the year are over the Titans and the Bengals, two of the worst teams in the NFL. Philly is 6-2 against the spread in their last 8 at home. They've covered in 3 straight with wins over the Bucks, the Rams, the Chiefs, Cowboys. To open up the year undefeated. So those are more impressive wins, in my opinion. I'm going to take them here to keep that going. So give me the Eagles laying the points here at home. And then we'd be looking at the Dolphins and the Panthers. Probably looking at the Dolphins on the money line on this one, man. This is another one that is just ugly, right? But even losing Tyreek, right? There's more talent on Miami's side of the ball, and they bring the ninth rated run game into this one in terms of DVOA. Carolina is just 20th against the run. Will Miami lean into the run game is the question, though. They're passing at a 61% rate, running it at just 39%. Carolina, they aren't really generating much pressure against the quarterback, though. So even if they are more pass heavy still, I think I like the Dolphins to come out on top in this one more than anything else. And next up, we got a battle of two 1-3 teams, two teams that people probably, most of us did not expect to be 1-3, the Houston Texans and the Baltimore Ravens. I'll be looking at the Texans on the money line here on the road, man. While they've underachieved to open up the year and they sit at just 1-3, like I said with Baltimore's defense has been pretty much wiped out by injury, and it's a big reason why the Ravens have fallen to 1-3. They've given up at least 37 points and 380 total yards in 3 of their 4 games played so far. The 133 points that they've allowed through 4 games, that's the most in franchise history in that time span. So this is more of a fade of the Ravens for me than a backing of the Texans here because I'm not, thoroughly impressed with the Texans either. They've had a ton of issues on the offensive end, and a ton of issues on the offensive line. Baltimore, man, there's a ton of question marks. We don't even know if Lamar is going to play in this one, right? Yeah, so yeah, I'm just not sure that I could get behind the Ravens in this one. It'd be the Texans on the money line or nothing at all here for me. Then next up, we're going to be looking at the Raiders and the Colts. Really looking at the Colts laying 6.5. This might be the first time all year that I've backed the Colts, man. Here's the thing, though. I'd still be hesitant to lay the points with Indianapolis here, but they do continue to surprise me. I got to give them some credit, man. After starting 3-0, they went into LA last week and they played the Rams down to the wire. Ultimately, they did blow a multi-score lead. They gave up a touchdown in the closing moments to lose by 7. They played a pretty good Rams team, pretty good, right? So I am impressed by Indianapolis, man. Like I said, though, I'm still not sure that I want to lay 6.5 with them, even against the Raiders, who also blew a lead, but they've lost 3 in a row. They said 26 for total DVOA, while the Colts are coming in at fourth. Just not sure that I can get there with them yet, man. But I'd be laying with the Colts here in this one, or just staying off of it altogether. Then moving into our 4 p.m. games, guys, it is time for the dog of the week. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Seattle Seahawks. I'm looking at the Bucks on the money line. Seattle, they have definitely looked good, man. And that defense is sitting at first for total DVOA. But while I do think it's a good unit, man, don't get me wrong. I don't know that it's the best unit in football because let's look at who they've played, man. 3 of their 4 opponents this year, they sit at 18th or worse for offensive DVOA. They've been impressive nonetheless, right? But as have the Bucks. They're 3-1, having just lost their first game of the year to the defending champ Eagles after almost pulling off another comeback, right? Had been 4 in a row to open up the year. Baker plays significantly better versus zone coverage than man, and Seattle plays zone 62% of the time. The Bucks themselves have blitzed at the 7th highest rate. They've generated the 5th highest pressure frequency as a result, both of which Sam Darnold tends to struggle against. So it'll be a fight, man. But I do think that the Bucks come out on top. I like them traveling into Seattle, going out on the West Coast and coming back with the dub. Next up, Tennessee Titans, Arizona Cardinals. Man, just so many this meh games this week, in my opinion. Here's another one of them, right? So I'd be looking at the total in this one, I think. If anything, looking at that under 41.5. Both these offenses, they've had their troubles this season, right? With Arizona at 23rd for offensive DVOA. The Titans are coming in at dead last. These defenses, though, they don't give me a ton of confidence either, but the Cardinals have been good against the run, 8th DVOA. And with a rookie quarterback who has had his struggles and a struggling offense, man, I like that for an under here. So that's where I'm going to lean with this game. Next up, Washington Commanders traveling to Los Angeles to take on the Chargers. I'd be looking at the Chargers on the money line. Now, LA, they are riddled with injury along the offensive line. This Commanders team, they are stout against the run, 6 DVOA, but against the pass, they're sitting at just 25th. So if LA can keep Herbert on his feet, man, he's played great this season, right? And Washington, they are giving up these 6th most yards per game through the air. And then on their end, you got uncertainty around Jaden Daniels. Is he going to be back? Is he at full strength? Terry McLaurin is also unavailable for the Commanders, so I like the Chargers to bounce back here after that surprise loss to the Giants last week here at home. Next up, going to be looking at the Detroit Lions and my Cincinnati Bengals. I got to fade my guys, man. I'm looking at the Lions laying 6,042 points. No, I'm just playing. I'm looking at the Lions laying 9.5 points, man. It's funny. I've seen a handful of people in Cincinnati labeling this as a trap game this week and that the Bengals are going to cover, man, and blah, 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 blah. Vegas is getting one over on everybody. I don't know what my fellow Cincinnatians have been watching, but this team is an absolute mess. And everywhere, man, I can't find any aspect of this team that is not a mess. The offense is dreadful. 28th passing DVOA, dead last in the run game. The defense, it's still atrocious. 26 DVOA, defending both the pass and the run. Special teams is a mess. I guess Evan McPherson's hitting his field goals now, but can't even get in range to kick field goals, right? So I don't know, man. It's a complete disaster. 2 straight losses. They've been outscored 76-13 over those last 2 weeks. And now you got the Lions coming into town, winners of 3 in a row. They have not scored under 32 in any of those 3 games. So you got one team coming in the form, the other team just spiraling. So yeah, I'm laying the points with Detroit, man, all day long. 9.5 does not feel enough. It's wild to me that it's that low. And it's wild to me that people are calling this a trap game. And if my Bengals somehow happen to cover this, man, I'll be the most surprised person here in Cincinnati, man. But I also like Montgomery in this one, like we already talked about. I like Gibbs as well to find the end zone, man. I think you could parlay both of those together, and I don't think that that's too wild in my opinion. Cincinnati has struggled mightily against the run, right? Mightily, and it's been well documented, and it's been this way for years. And then the Bengals team total under, it's probably on the table as well, man. Just like it was last week. We talked about that last week, and I didn't end up putting it in. They scored 3 points, right? So yeah, it's another full fade of my guys in stripes, man. It pains me 2 weeks in a row, but that's where we're at, man. Probably going to be that way for a lot of this season to play out, right? So we're going to be looking at that Sunday night football game next. We got the New England Patriots taking on the Buffalo Bills. We got an AFC East divisional rivalry game here. Now, it's hard for me to get behind these larger spreads with Buffalo right now. I see them laying 8.5 right now on some books. I see 9.5s out there as well, man. This offense has been great, of course, right? First overall for DVOA, but defensively they're coming in at just 22nd. They're playing a ton of zone. They're getting a good bit of pressure on the QB, and both of which Drake May struggles with. The Patriots do tend to play their divisional foe here in Buffalo pretty well, right? So I think I'd lean towards taking the points here with New England. The Bills most likely get the dub. Allen's 32-4 straight up when favored by at least a touchdown like they are here, but I'm just not sure that I put money on them covering this line here in this one. I was hesitant last week, man, took the team total over instead. They did not end up covering that bigger line as well, but that one was pretty wild, sitting at like 15.5. This one is a little more reasonable still, yeah, but for a divisional game this early in the season, man, like I said, with a Buffalo team that just really hasn't showed up well defensively yet, New England hasn't played bad. So, yeah, give me the Patriots with the points here. And then the last game on the Week 5 slate, Monday Night Football, Kansas City Chiefs traveling to Jacksonville to take on the Jaguars. I'd be looking at the total in this one as well, looking at the under 45.5. These have been 2 of the better defenses this season so far, man. Kansas City 8th for points allowed, Jacksonville sitting at 5th. The Chiefs are getting pressure on the QB at the 5th highest rate. Lawrence struggles in this regard, but KC has been more shaky against the run. That's an area where the Jags sit at 2nd DVOA, so I like that for an under, man. The more they run, the more that clock runs, right? The Chiefs themselves, they are still more pass-centric, 10th for DVOA in the passing game, 20th for the run, and passing on 60% of their downs. Jacksonville should give KC a hard time in that aspect, in my opinion. They're sitting at 4th, defending the pass right now, DVOA. So give me an under looking at this Monday Night Football matchup. And that is going to wrap it up here for the Week 5 slate, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the show today. I hope you found the content helpful and useful. And if you did, please don't forget to smash that like button on your way out. Hit subscribe if you have not already. And that is going to do it, man. Hope you guys all cash out and have yourselves a great Week 5. And I'll see you back for week number 6.